we say that depression and money go hand
together.
in hand. Yeah.
So once you get money, your depression goes away. And
So we're still on His Praises show. I'm your host, Belly Julians, and my beautiful guest here, our medical psychologist, is
Aflin Taffy.
yeah. So from where we left at, we are going to talk now about the myths and misconceptions of people with mental illnesses. Yeah, and this is an interesting one because I think I think I have a lot of myths, or let me just say misconceptions, and today we are going to demystify them. Safi, there's this myth,
Yes.
or is it a misconception that these people with mental illness, they don't like brown-skinned people? Where I come from, in my village where I come from, so if you're light-skinned, they'll always attack you.
Yeah.
You can demystify that.
That is a myth. It is a myth.
Yeah.
And it's because no one is vulnerable to a mental illness, black and brown alike. And I'm just imagining that this is just light skin. So you can imagine if you started talking about the white man, the Caucasian man, and try to gauge that. So it's actually a myth. And it's really, it's one that we really need to demystify. It is not true. And the thing is, we have made it appear like that. I can imagine how many of them have you seen that do not like light skinned people?
Okay, several. If you're light skinned, they start abusing you, or if you wear something red, any red top, red sweater, they start running after you.
But you know, I can imagine also when I was young and I was growing up, and I was being told that anytime when there's lightning or there is a storm, you can't wear a red thing,
Yeah.
or you can't wear like a white thing. Of course, white might make sense
the
in
lightning will
science.
strike you.
Yes, but if you wear something black, you can imagine anything that is formed in
Yeah.
is because people are trying to let you know that we want you to do this.
Yeah.
So that's really just a myth. And white, light skin, dark skin, that you're all humans.
Yeah.
And when we change our mindset, I'm going to challenge you so that from today you try and look at those that do not like the light skins and then come back to me. Because once we demystify this, then now you'd get to realize that it's actually not really true about this. Yeah. So that's a lie.
It's a lie. Okay, and this other one, this common say that, and we used it a lot, that every market has its own madman. So it means every market must have one. If you go to any place and you don't find a madman, you'll be like, hey, is this really a market?
Every market has a madman.
Yeah.
I'll try and reframe it to this one, Bailey. I'll say, as the WHO did the latest report, it was that 1 in every 4 people suffer from a mental illness at one point in their life. So yes, even me and you, and if I counted the 4 of us in our room, I'd mentioned that there's one person that at one point in their lives, or right now, they are already suffering from a mental illness.
Wow.
So that will be true. We just need to change the term.
Yeah.
That every marketplace might have or must have
Yeah.
someone who's suffering from a mental illness.
Wow. Oh, okay. So those are the few that I know. Now you tell us from your medical psychologist point of view, those myths and misconceptions that we other people on this side have, and we really need to demystify them so that we can embrace these people, because they're our mothers, they're our sisters, our fathers, they're just our relatives and normal people. So we need to embrace them. So tell us about the myths and misconceptions that we need to get out of our minds so that we can embrace these people as human beings, because first of all, without the illnesses that they have, they're human beings, and we need to treat them as such.
That it is all as a result of witchcraft.
Yes. The
Warogi.
first one, Warogi.
Kurushiwa vitu. And this was coming from a point of no knowledge or little knowledge or misinformation.
Yeah.
One thing that I know that I have learned over time is seeking for our health seeking behavior is really not too good.
Yeah.
Now you can imagine our mental health seeking behavior, and we do not have the information. So if you really do not have the information, that's when you start speaking from the point that enyewe hii ni uchawi.
Point of ignorance.
But point of ignorance, yes. But if you knew or had the information, then you'd realize that there's more to it than just witchcraft. In fact, if you seek for help, you see them responding very well. You'd realize that, actually there was more to this. This person is responding, they're doing well. It was not about the kuonewa vibaya or something else. Because the times people will say, he started getting into substance use. He started drinking a lot of alcohol, because alcohol use disorder is also a disorder, and it's actually a common type that I didn't mention. It's a very common type. So substance use disorder, and they'll tell you it's because of the things people are not loving it, or they are not maybe wanaonea vibaya. Maybe they are prospering, so they brought in this alcohol to bring them down. But you see, once you realize that substance use disorder is actually a disorder, and it could be as a result of a flip that happened, or maybe they were predisposed, as I said, maybe genetically they were predisposed. Because anytime I find someone who's suffering from a mental illness and it's substance induced, or the substance induced psychosis that also associates close to what schizophrenia is, and when I see them, I when you get the whole history, you realize that probably at some point in their life there was substance use, so it made them that was a predisposing factor. So that is actually something that we need to get off our minds, and it is a myth. Yes,
that's a myth. Go on.
What other myths? There's so many myths, and
just the
common ones. That a mother that gives birth and they start running around is also bewitched. I've heard that. Especially for the mothers who developed postpartum psychosis or postpartum depression, and you see them. You know, I ever met a woman who ate the 3 fingers of a child, and people kept on wondering, why is the child crying? And kumbe, they had actually developed postpartum psychosis, and people didn't see it. They just thought this woman is running around, she's acting up, or she's seeking attention.
Most of the time we say they're seeking attention.
You see, like the ones that really fall down, and they could be having like a general like a seizure, or they're having some small, like these convulsions, and you say, this one, this is attention seeking. But you see, when you really get to look at the whole bit of it, you realize that this is a mental disorder, and it needs to be taken care of. So the bit that people also say that is a misconception is that most of these mental illnesses are attention seeking. Some small, like these convulsions, and you say, this one, this is attention seeking. But you see, when you really get to look at the whole bit of it, you realize that this is a mental disorder, and it needs to be taken care of. So the bit that people also say that is a misconception is that most of these mental illnesses are attention seeking. Now the other one, this is a Western disease.
It is a Western disease. And other than being a Western disease, anybody who is depressed has no money. They want money. So we say that depression and money go hand in hand.
So once you get money, your depression goes away. And it's a lie, because so many people have gotten lots of money and are still depressed in it. So it's actually a myth, and we need to know that just the same way that the Western countries, it's because of how developed they were. So they really had the information, and there's lots of data. When you look at the data on mental health, it's most westernized. Because there's not so much that has been put into mental health. In fact, last I checked, our budget was reading 0.02% of the budgetary allocation on mental health. So you can imagine how bad that is. And that is like a general view of the country. Now, and data has not, there's not so much data on mental health. And just right now, and last year, things are really picking up, and even the resources are being put towards mental health. Because the president, in his speech, he mentioned that mental health was a key thing.
It is.
And when the president speaks to Naitika. But you see, before then, people really didn't have lots of information about this. So right now, everyone is trying to embrace it, and there's so much information about mental health that is being accessed, and now the research is starting to come up. Now, because we did not have the information, how do you go seeking what you do not know? You cannot go seeking about
something
you
don't know about.
But now, when you are acting from the point of knowledge, and you have all these things, it will even drive you into getting more knowledge. There's more research that is going to be done about the mental disorders and all that, and people are going to try and embrace those that are suffering from different mental illnesses, and that is a sure way of reducing the stigma and discrimination.
Okay, now the last one, Taffy.
Yes.
Let's talk about the mental hospital that we know of is Madare. So let's talk about, if somebody hears that you're going to Madare, why do we always stigmatize people? Because I remember when you're doing your internship at Madare, and we could go to places, and you just mentioned, I work at Madare, and people look at you like, seriously, Taffy, are you? But the first thing, they don't even see you from that point that you're a psychologist. The first thing, are you mad? So which other places can people seek help if you feel like you need a diagnosis or something other than Madare, or Madare being one of them? Are there hospitals where somebody can go for a diagnosis?
So I'm not going to be vouching for any for any
I'm not marketing anyone.
I'm not marketing anyone. I'm just going to mention it from a point that just Bailey has asked me, and it's in order for me to answer. Otherwise, I would have picked a specific person in a place and told you go there. But I'll mention just general facilities that we have that deal with mental health. Depending on your pocket, and also depending on the stigma. There's stigma at Madari,
Yeah.
but Madari produces the best.
Yeah.
In fact, the services are very good. Psychotherapy services, they charge at 500 shillings.
Wow, that's
you can imagine.
affordable.
And there are those that actually charge close to 3,000. There are those that charge 5,000 for psychotherapy sessions.
Yeah.
And also just opening the files, it's really easy. So it's a good place that you can get help.
Yeah.
But also right now there are lots of telemental health services that are being established. And also I won't go into details, but I know that Red Cross has a very good plan and a very good platform. It's 11.99. You just call and your counselor away, so you can talk to them. So you see like how you just have it on speed dial.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm stressed out. I need to talk to someone. Okay, hello. I was just thinking, just someone to talk to. It's called talk therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Red Cross does that. I know that Kenyatta National there's Kenyatta National Hospital that also has good mental health services, and these are public facilities,
Yeah,
so
the
they're
public
accessible
facilities.
and you can get help. So you can run there anytime and you get help out of it. It has also a very good youth service, youth-friendly center,
Yeah.
and this was also done in many counties. Like Makueni was leading, and they have like very good youth-friendly services. So we'll get there. You won't feel stigmatized. In fact,
Yeah.
they'll put some nice music to cool you down. You feel like you're not even in a mental health facility because of
Yeah.
the stigma. But of course, when all this is done, we want to we can still carry the name with
Yeah.
the stigma.
Yeah.
So we want to change people's mindset so that when you hear Madari, you're like, oh, Madari, the mental health, that is very good, and you don't get scared.
Yeah.
There are times when I talk to people and they tell me, wait, you're coming to what? No, don't go to Madari, because Madari it's associated with so much stigma, but it's also a very good facility. Other than that. Other than the online services that you can have, I know there are very many good hotlines or hotlines by Nakada, especially for those that are having substance use or substance-induced disorders. And also there are private facilities, Chiromolane, for example.
Yeah.
You can go pay some and you get help.
Yeah.
Other than Chiromolane, they're like very good mental health facilities. And also right now, there was a posting of so many psychologists around the country, close
Yeah.
to 134 psychologists for the
Wow.
very first time, and they're now in different counties,
Okay,
just so
so
that someone
every
can get
county
help.
has a
Every county,
psychologist.
yes, at the level 4, level 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Level 5.
Level
okay.
4 or 5.
I don't
Yes, you can get help from there.
At least at your country. So
Yeah.
I know we are almost about to come to the end of this, but we won't come to the end of this before we talk about the management of these mental illnesses and then the prevention. Can they be prevented and how can they be managed? Now talk about that.
Okay, those are two things. I'll start with the first one, and then you'll remind me about the second one.
Oh yeah. So you
that I
start
don't
with
forget.
prevention or management?
No, management. Management is easy.
Okay.
Okay, so management is we use different things. I already said that there's a multidimensional team that deals with the management of the mental illnesses. So to begin with, in case it's a little stress, you can just be stressed. As I said, there's eustress and distress. So when there's just a little level of stress,
Yeah.
then someone gets help from coping from a counselor.
Oh yeah.
But now when it gets to a point when they're no longer eating well, they cannot sleep well, they're not functioning, they're having maybe the other mental disorders that I already mentioned earlier, maybe having anxiety disorders, they're having depression, they're having psychosis, eating disorders, anorexia, bulimia, like the eating disorders that
Yeah.
people have, the different ones, any sort of mental illness, then now they get through a psychiatrist. So the psychiatrist will do the diagnosis, and then because the medicine and the psychotherapy go one in one. So we've had many people who've been on medication.
Yeah.
You take the medication, the hallucinations are gone, you can now see clearly, you can hear clearly, everything is going on well. But because you did not go for psychotherapy to deal with the underlying issue,
Yeah.
you get to relapse. So you find them again back to the walls. Maybe the stressor that they had was the relationship with the husband. So this has not been sorted by the medication.
Yeah.
The husband is still there.
So the medication just make sure that
The medication
your
makes
hormones
sure
are
that
okay.
that everything else is balanced and that you can function. And now when they respond to the medication, they now bring in the aspect of psychotherapy. So most
Yeah.
psychiatrists will always write their management plan with everything that it takes, the medication, all that, blah blah blah. Then they write for psychotherapy review. So they go on together.
So it can be managed well.
Yeah, they can be managed.
Oh, that's
yes.
okay. Now let's talk about
The
the
prevention.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So prevention. I'll actually talk about promotion of mental health. And promotion of mental health are very simple activities. They're like a step away or a walk away. You cannot you do not need like a whole aeroplane for you to come down and then now you're mentally fit. Now let's start with this. Just general self-care. Just waking up on a day, and you do not have to put your phone on and call people and feel all nice.
Yeah.
You just go and you put on something on your face. You know, you just scrub your face nicely, or you sit and just dip your feet in water and just feel nice about yourself. Just something that you can do. Others have done lots of hobbies. They get to knit. When they're stressed up, they'll be told, I want you to buy a pestle and a mortar. Eka garlic up on that. When you're mad, you hit it instead. Yeah, so that you know it's also like a conflict resolution thing.
Yeah.
Instead of going to beat someone, you take it and you know you pound on it and you put on your stress. Like, I hated this. I do not have a job. You know, like you pound it all there, and then you can go on a hike. You can go swimming. Like me, I love swimming.
Nature activities.
Nature activities, nature's remedies. You can go swimming, you can go hiking, just things to take care of yourself. And you know, with all this, it relaxes your mind and it takes your mind off the pressures that contribute to the psychological stresses. Now, there are also ways that you can also prevent things to do with like suicide. And this I'll say because so many youths have died by suicide, and we're also trying to let the youths know that they can get help. So other than calling, like a call away, you can also ensure that you talk to someone, communicate, talk about your stresses, check up on a friend, and if it is not you that they're responding to, they might respond to someone else. So don't ever say, I tried. Did you try it through someone else?
Okay, I think now that is where most of us make a mistake. Like you try reaching out to them, they don't respond. So it's advisable when you're talking to somebody who you think is going through something and they're not reacting to you,
Use
go
someone
through
else.
someone else.
Yeah, you can as well refer them for therapy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for that.
Yeah.
Wow, so I guess we have come to the end because, okay, I know suicide is a very wide topic.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, and Taffy, we have to come back. In May, we are going to talk about suicide because right now, during this corona period, I think when we were doing our GBV, we talked about the research that was showing that there's a big percentage of people who are going through they're going through a lot other than GBV, especially suicide, and most people have taken away their lives. You can just be talking to me today and then the next day Taffy took away their life. And nowadays they don't even write a note to tell you that, oh, you know, I'm dying because what and what happened. Suicide is so rampant, and it's something that it's a huge topic. So in May, I'll be back with Taffy and we'll be tackling suicide, how to help people who are planning to commit suicide, and just how to prevent it, because you never know, you might be the next patient without knowing, because a lot of things happen. So be sure to stick with us. So Taffy, give us your last remarks and then we'll call our friends to give us a song. I'll say the last prayer and Levite Harmonies will bless us with one song as we wind up today's show. Your last remarks.
There is no health without mental health, and always seek help. There's no shame in seeking help. In fact, if it happens that you're feeling not so good and you're not in the right state of mind, just seek help. It is not a shame to seek help. And mental illness begins with I, but mental wellness begins with we. So if we all come together, then we are going to be mentally well. Yes.
Wow, that's a nice parting shot.